How would you like to get my best bet today and the plays of every single handicapper at PickNation.com for free, no strings attached? Guys, I'm not kidding around. Al DeMarco here, general manager of the world's largest online sports gambling community, PickNation.com. And today, you can get my best bet and the plays of every single handicapper at the site for free simply by using the one-day free all-access pass at PickNation.com. That's right, my best bet, the plays of 10 handicappers for free. If you were to buy them separately, guys, you would spend over $600, but you're going to get them for free, the one-day free all-access pass at PickNation.com. Now, you're asking yourself, why am I giving it away for free? Because, guys, I'm that confident that I put together a staff of the best handicappers in the nation that can win for you on a consistent basis. What better way to show you how good they are than by giving you their plays today for free? Once again, the free one-day all-access pass available now. All you've got to do is click on the ad at PickNation.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Countdown to Kickoff program, the only nationally televised show that breaks down all your top NFL games every weekend from a point spread perspective. I'm Al DeMarco, and joining me via Skype from Miami is Steve Budin. Steve unable to make it to the studio this week because of Hurricane Sandy, but nothing stops us from trying to make money in pro football. And Steve, let's pick it up with Washington and Carolina. Panthers coming off a heartbreaking loss at Chicago last week. They were up 19-7 in the fourth quarter, only to see a Chicago team that they had completely stymied defensively all day long, managed to mount a comeback, and Jay Cutler drive them right down the field where Robbie Gould kicked the game-winning field goal with 1 second to play. But now Carolina gets the benefit, although on the road for a second straight week, going to Washington, taking on a Redskins team that plays no defense and is coming off a road loss to Pittsburgh in which the Steelers dominated. But in Washington's defense, RG3 did not have a good game against the Steelers, but you have to realize that his receivers dropped 10 passes in that game. You talk about guys with butterfingers.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina finally got their groove back. That's what you alluded to earlier. They got the cover last week. They took the Bears down to the wire, and now it's RG3 versus Cam Newton in what should be a complete firework fest. Neither of these teams, Al, can play any defense. That's the key to this game. Redskins 6-1, last 7 if you bet them over. That trend continues here. Cam Newton finally getting his timing down. RG3's in full stride. I'll take the over 47 in what I think is the only game on the card that's easy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'd have to go with the over in this one. I lean a little toward Carolina, but I just wonder about the Panthers' mindset. I mean, they lost in Atlanta, last-second drive by Matt Ryan. Then they lose in Chicago, last-second drive, last-minute drive by Chicago, culminating in a last-second field goal to win it. So you got to wonder about a team that has just one win on the season. It seems like the oars are definitely falling off the boat here. But again, I'm with you. I think the over is the easier play in this contest, although I do lean toward Carolina just a bit. And speaking of the Chicago Bears, they have been a real thorn in my side here of late. 2 Mondays ago, of course, I went with them. Big play on Monday Night Football, only to see them get backdoored when the Lions scored with 30 seconds to play. But not to be stopped, I went back on them and bet again then with them last Sunday, only to see them choke against the Chicago Bears. But proving that I'm a glutton for punishment, Steve, I'm going to come right back and take them again here because I'm looking at this price at 3.5 against Tennessee in Nashville, and I think it's a bargain basement price because if they had played well against Carolina, no doubt they'd be laying 6 in this spot.
Well, this is exactly what I've said on the show each and every week. I mean, sometimes great gamblers, great handicappers, great analysts will go with their gut feeling over the analysis. They'll first be true to their gut, and they'll go back and get the analysis afterwards. I think that's what you mean here. Carolina, we just talked about it. They took Chicago to the final bell last week. Jay Cutler had a terrible game. 3 interceptions against the team that, let's face it, they're not known for their defense. But Al, now that the game is over, I actually look at it as a positive for Chicago because they got the win, even though they didn't deserve it. And now you're getting the benefit of that with this line, only 3.5. I like the Bears here. The only thing I'm going to add to what you said is I'm going to buy a 0.5 point, bring this line down to 3. I think that gives us a better shot.
You know, Steve, it was almost like Chicago last week was in a funk, sleepwalking through the first half of that game. I mean, they had the 3 turnovers. Heck, at halftime, Jay Cutler had 4 completions. He had been sacked 3 times by a Carolina team team that doesn't even have much of a pass rush. But when I'm looking at this Tennessee team, I see that they gave up 457 yards to Indianapolis last week playing at home. And I see a Colts team that really, until a few weeks ago, hadn't been able to mount any type of effective ground game, running for 171 yards in that contest. So I'm looking at this game, and I'm thinking Matt Forte and Michael Bush, they are going to have some big holes to run through in this Tennessee defense. So even though Tennessee has been a great play as a home dog, 7-3 their last 10, they upset Detroit as a home dog this year. Remember that Thursday night game? They upset the Steelers. I'm with you. I would take Chicago in this contest, noting that Lovie Smith 6-1-1 against the spread the last 8 times. Bears have been a road chalk, and taking advantage of this generous line. And also, just like you said, I'm a firm believer of always buying down the half point whenever the line, or buying up the half point, depending on whether you're on a favorite or underdog, whenever that line crosses 3, 4, 7, and sometimes 10. So in this case, definitely I'll go with Chicago as well. Next game is going to be Seattle and Minnesota. Before we get to that one, quick reminder, guys, if you want my best bet today, all the plays of all the handicappers at PickNation.com for free. All you've got to do, Steve, is check out what we invented a few years ago, the one-day all-access pass free trial.
Right, so let's face it, a lot of gamblers come to our site for the first time, and Al, it's a little overwhelming. It's a lot of information, a lot of handicappers, a lot of analysis, and guys get a little intimidated. So what we did is we created this all-access pass free trial so that everybody can get right in, can see all the cappers, see all the analysis, see how the site runs before they commit to it.
Guys, and you're going to get $500, $600, $700 worth of action for free. And truly, free means free here, guys. Nothing is held back. You get everything we have for free. One-day all-access pass. Check it out, PickNation.com. Next game, you got a Seattle team that's coming off a 28-24 loss at Detroit. They took the lead with 1.5 minutes to play, only to watch the Lions score with 20 seconds to go. But now they're back at home, where they're 3-0 straight up and against the spread this year, although one of those wins was tainted by the replacement refs against Green Bay. But the fact is, at CenturyLink Field, they have covered 6 in a row and 9 of their last 11. Vikings, last we saw them 2 Thursdays ago, they were getting embarrassed at home by Tampa Bay in a nationally televised tilt. Do you lay it with the Seahawks here? I think that's the only way, personally, I would be able to play the game.
Well, you said it. Seattle is a beast at home. 3-0 outright at home, all as the underdog. One of those wins you can credit to the replacement refs. Look, Al, they've lost 2 straight on the road, so they're going to be happy to get back home where their fans are as loud as Honey Boo Boo when there's no more powdered donuts at the Wawa. And Seattle, their defense at home, second to none. Vikings quarterback Christian Ponder, 7 interceptions in his last 4 games. So ponder that as you're sticking your hand in your wallet for Minnesota money. I like Seattle minus the 5 at home.
The only nationally televised show that you get winners in the NFL and Honey Boo Boo references here at the Countdown to Kickoff program. Vikings, by the way, 7-14-1 their last 22 on the road. Now a good game. Giants in Pittsburgh. 3.5 the point spread here, and I think that's a fair price. You know, the Giants did their usual. I mean, they won again last week. They opened up a 23-0 lead. They gave up the lead. They come back and win again. I mean, now they're back at home, which is no bargain. I mean, they lost their home opener to the Cowboys. They had to rally from big time down to beat Tampa Bay, to beat Cleveland, to beat Washington. This defense, statistically, on paper, it looks okay. But the Giants have not been getting the job done defensively this season. What has saved their rear ends constantly has been Ahmad Bradshaw and, of course, Eli Manning. Steelers, a huge disappointment on the road, although they did win on the road 2 Sundays ago against Cincinnati. Otherwise, this team 1-5 against the spread, their last 6 as a dog. Steve, part of me says take the Steelers plus the points, buy up the half point to 4, but I just can't go against Eli Manning at home, despite the fact that the Giants have just been pathetic at home this season.
Well, you're right. And when you look at the stats, it's all Giants. Steelers, like you said, 1-5, last 6 as a dog, 3-11 against the spread, their last 14 games on the road. But you also said it, Big Blue hasn't been so giant at home, only 1-3 versus the spread this year. To me, Al, you just got to throw out all the stats and ask yourself one question. Which one of these teams needs this game more? And when you ask yourself that, I think it's Pittsburgh. You add to that the two very emotional wins that the Giants are coming off of, and I'm going to take the chance with the Steelers here, plus 3.5. I will say this is a game that probably will come down to the last possession.
Oh, yeah, this has field goal written all over this one, I'll tell you what. And the other thing is, I look at the Steelers' pass defense. They are ranked number 1 in the league against the pass, but they only have 12 sacks on the year. And if you don't put pressure and collapse that pocket around Eli Manning, you're just asking to be picked apart. So I have always had a hard time going against the Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger. So this is a game I'm going to watch. My guess, if I flipped a coin, was the Giants buying down to 3. But I think you probably are absolutely right. This one comes down to the final play, and I'll just watch it on TV. Another game that's perplexing in terms, and that's the great thing. Listen, guys, we're not action junkies. We believe, Steve and I, and most of the handicappers of the site, you find one game and you pound it. Action junkies, as Steve, a former bookmaker, the guy that literally created what you now know as the offshore sportsbook betting industry, will tell you, guys that bet too many games only make bookmakers rich. This next game, Atlanta-Dallas, I'll tell you, it's a tough game. I mean, I know the Falcons are undefeated, but let's face it, these Cowboys, if Tony Romo doesn't throw the 4 interceptions, then the career-high 437 yards he threw for last week against the Giants is all the more impressive. I mean, this team seems to be playing a must-win game every single week, but they just don't deliver.
No, and I said it at the beginning of the show, Al, nothing easy on the card this week, and at this point, most Cowboy fans have turned to Prozac. Most Cowboy bettors are in straitjackets. All this while the Falcons remain undefeated and continue to roll, albeit kind of under the radar. Now, let's be honest, the Falcons, they haven't played anybody great yet. I mean, who they played. But the other thing is, who is really great this year? Nobody. This is the most parity I've seen in the league, Al, in the last 10 years. I think this game comes down to who do you trust? Do you trust Tony Romo, 4 interceptions versus the Giants last week? Or do you put your trust in Matty Ice, 17 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions, and he's at home? I mean, this is another game, Al, that I think comes down to the last possession. And for that reason only, God help me, I'm going with the Cowboys here, plus the points.
I'll tell you what, I have to agree with you because I think for Atlanta, coming out of the bye last week, they go to Philadelphia, they score in their first 6 possessions, and they hammer the Eagles. And now they're coming back home, and you're saying, oh, well, they're undefeated. Yeah, but this was an Atlanta team that got outplayed at home and needed a miracle in the final minute to play to beat Carolina last month. So even though the Falcons, are 16-7-1, their last 24 at home against non-conference crews, which, hey, sounds real impressive, but, stats can be twisted and turned any way you want it. I mean, this is a Dallas team that's 8-17-1, their last, 20, God, I got to do my quick math, 26 games. But they're 7-2, their last 9 as a road dog. So I'm with you here. I'm looking at the Cowboys in another game I think I'll just watch as a casual viewer. I also like the over a little bit at 47.5 points. I'm not impressed with either one of these teams' defenses, but I think the key thing that you have to look into going into this contest is whether or not Dallas has anybody healthy at running back, because without DeMarco Murray, Felix Jones struggled last week in the loss against the Giants. If they can't run the ball against the Falcons defense, ranked 26th in the league against the run, giving up 136.4 yards a game, they are in trouble in this game. Well, guys, that'll do it again for this week's edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. Remember, Steve and I will be right back here again on FoxSports.com on Monday for a preview of a great Monday night game between the Saints and the Eagles. And remember, come over to PickNation.com, watch my daily video report every single day for your free picks. For Steve Budin, Al DeMarco, we'll catch you again next week.